Hello everyone, welcome to your detailed weather forecast for this cross-country winter storm. This winter storm is definitely getting closer, and today I'm going to show you some more models. It's a better model. I'm going to be showing you more short-term models, and you're going to have a way better idea what's going to happen. So just remember, with these storms, you can bust or you can get more than I think. I think the storm could overperform a little bit than what the models are saying, but the models are saying quite a bit. But I do think we could overperform some on the East Coast, and I do think we could overperform over here too. With a lot of, as long as we get bands, if you have a band sitting over you for hours, especially once you're over here in the Northeast, it could become a slow moving storm. If you had a really heavy band over you, it could be there for three hours, and let's say it produced one inch an hour or more. That's already 3 inches in 3 hours. So that's just an example of what could happen in those scenarios. But right here, as you can see, we have these winter storm watches in this blue area. So we have winter storm watches for parts of the Mid-Atlantic, the Appalachian chain into the Mid-Atlantic, getting into parts of the Northeast. I do expect they will be issued for a lot of the Northeast as we get closer to the event. The only reason that it's down here is because it's going to hit these spots first and then these spots later on early next week, or it's really just in a few days. And over here in these purple areas, you can see the light purple, we have a winter weather advisory. This is where we're not expecting as much wintry precipitation, or at least problems. But here, let's say this winter weather advisory here, what they're getting would be considered a winter storm warning over here. So it's just kind of like perspective on what the people are used to in your climatology. But they're not, either way, they're not going to be getting as much up here as they are going to be getting down in here. So as you can see in this pink, we have winter storm warnings. That means it's happening pretty soon. In the next 24 hours, we're going to see wintry conditions, and things will really go downhill. I expect here these winter storm watches to be issued to winter storm warnings pretty shortly. And right here, we'll have a pretty good band of snow that'll set up. And I do think some of our highest totals could honestly be around here, but we'll have to see. But somewhere in here, we're gonna have pretty good snow in that whole swath. But remember, there's a cutoff right here. There's gonna be an icy mix somewhere that can mess you up. Especially in Indianapolis, we could start off as some snow and then change over to ice and rain and then go back over to snow. So we're just gonna have to watch that. We gotta watch for that rain snow line does set up. So right now it's still in California, but it's finally starting to get its move on. It's snowing in Arizona currently. But we're going to go ahead and go to the Midwest. So here is tomorrow at dinner time. Sorry, tomorrow, actually, it's early tomorrow afternoon. And you can see we have a huge swath of rain over here. And ahead of it, we are cold enough, as you can see, to produce some winter precipitation. Just some showers before. Some of this might not even make it to the ground because of the air might be too dry, which is what we call Virgo, when it's actually falling but not making it to the ground. But let's go ahead and go over to, here is getting closer to your evening hour. This is around the 4 p.m. time. You can see we're finally getting this moisture to move in, and we have a band of pretty good heavy snow, possibly some sleet in there too. But there could definitely be some heavy snow, and then of course rain around it. There's going to be a good band setting up for many of these areas. As you can see, we have maybe a little bit area of some freezing rain or sleet, or just a mix in Iowa, but that'll eventually change over. But this could definitely reduce your totals because we're going to be in that mix longer in parts of central Iowa, which could be a problem because like I said, that could reduce your totals. And here we are, we have this arm of precipitation setting up, and it's actually going to go all the way down to parts of Southwest Virginia and North Carolina. But you can see it's really setting up. Chicago, you're right here, you're going to be in that really soon for that. This will be at dinner time tomorrow. And you can see that's a really good band of precipitation. Like we said up here where those winter weather advisories are, not as heavy snow, especially in the Minnesota, western Wisconsin area, but still a good amount. So as we go ahead and get into after dinner time tomorrow, this is when things start to change over in Iowa, finally to all snow. So that's a good thing for a lot of snow lovers. And you can see that band of precipitation stretching all the way down from North Carolina all the way up to parts of Minnesota. But our heaviest snows are going to be in here, as you can see. And you can see right here, we're going to have to watch where this line sets up. It could be here. It could be, I don't think it'll go south, but it could. or it could even go north. So we're going to have to watch how things go. But right now, this is a high definition rapid refresh model. So this is really good short-term model. This is a really good short-term model to look at. And this is the best look on it. But just remember, things can change. You can get surprised, so just be ready. And remember, ice is worse for travel a lot of times than snow is. So you still do got to watch out for it. Chicago, this is when you're going to be in the thick of it. This is getting into overnight on your Saturday night. And of course, that band is stretching all the way down to the Virginias, parts of North Carolina. And you can see we may have some mixing in a few spots. So maybe you could get some sleet mixing in, which could cut down on your totals. But I do think we'll have some pretty good totals. As you can see, as we go throughout Saturday night into Sunday morning, we still have that going on. But once we get into Sunday morning, we're going to start seeing things move out of Illinois, but we still have a lot of snow showers just going around. And you can see there's going to be some lake enhancement for Chicago, which could keep snow around you for a little bit longer. So as you can see, we're going to have this snow coming down from the lakes, just like we had with the past winter storm just like a week ago. And that's going to keep the snow around for you longer than anyone else. And as we get, this is 2 days from now, you can see that heaviest band of precipitation across this area will be in parts of Indiana and Ohio. So that's why I do think that the best spot could definitely be in here, especially this part of Ohio. We could really get some good totals there, in my opinion. And the models are definitely agreeing with that. So that could be a really good sweet spot. But I do think the Northeast could get some of the best totals. Okay, so let's move into the Mid-Atlantic. This is when things get kind of confusing. So as you can see, we have that band that's up there towards the Ohio Valley. And down here, we have this, remember, as I said, this band's moving all the way down here to upstate South Carolina. And in the high elevations, we do have that snow mixing in. And of course, the farther you go north, the better the chance that we could have some snow mixing in. And this is as we get in past your dinner time on Saturday night. And you can see we kind of have this rain area right here. So it's going to be a lot of rain-snow mix around this area. And then down here, there could be some rain-snow mix too. But it really depends on your elevation in a lot of these scenarios. But you can see a band of precipitation coming down here could drop a quick ½ inch of snow for some of you. I'm not expecting a ton from that, especially because this might not even make it to the ground because the air is extremely dry in this region. But then that moves out, and then that will be a bigger deal once we get into Virginia and DC. That's what's going to give you possibly a quick 3 or 4 inches, and then we could change over maybe to a mix and then go back to snow later on. I will warn you that this first band is going to be better than the second one for DC. So let's just hope that y'all can not change over to a mix and you just stay in snow the whole time, which is a possibility. So this is as we get into overnight on Saturday, getting into Sunday morning when you're starting. There's some people starting to get up. This is like 4 or 5 a.m. And you can see we have a good band of snow in western North Carolina. A lot of them will change over there, but they could get maybe a good 1 to 2 inches of snow, maybe 3 to 4 in some areas. And you can see we still do have this band stretching all the way down to DC, even coastal Virginia, which you don't get a ton of snow there. And then as you can see, as we get into around when everyone's waking up, like 7 a.m., 8 a.m., we see over here, we see this actually start to change over into a wintry mix / freezing rain. Now, I will warn you, we could get this thing, and some models are picking up on this, and it's called cold air damming, which is especially another thing you might have heard is the Appalachian wedge. So there's a possibility we could keep it colder in these areas longer, and even over here too, which could prolong that freezing rain or sleet. And we could have some snow down those areas, but I do think there will be a transition period on Sunday since we have that warm air coming from the south, and it's going to ride over that cold air. And then pretty much what's going to happen is we're going to have snow falling. That warm layer is going to melt it, and then it could refreeze, turn into sleet, or it may not have enough time to refreeze, and it might just hit the ground as rain and then freeze, since at the surface we could be at or below freezing. Now, as we get into later in your morning, we have a very good thing of snow here. This is this is when DC could get in on their best snow. And remember, once you get towards this rain snow line, if you're lucky enough to be in the snow side, you can get some very heavy rates, and that's where some of the heaviest rates are. And then of course we have this band of snow up here. And as you can see, we're starting to see some action down here, which will turn into a coastal low that'll crank up the coast eventually. Now, as we get 2 days from now, you can see DC, you're still in that snow. But you can see some pretty heavy rates down here. But this low is going to be not be the main low anymore, but it's going to supply some precipitation to these areas. It's going to become your upper low. That usually brings showery action. And this will end up taking over and swimming up the coast, as I said. And this huge band of precipitation is going to go up, and it could cause a lot of problems as we get into parts of the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. But you can see DC, you could get in on some good snow according to this. So I do want to go back over here and show you our snow totals for the Midwest. I'm sorry I didn't show you that before. And let's go and take a look here. So as you can see, here's a pretty good swath right here. I would say right here you can see 5 to 8 inches easy. Even up here, 5 to 8 inches easy. Some spots 8 to 12 inches. And isolated spots with really good snows could get into 12 to 18. And that would be, especially maybe in here, is a good spot because that's where we'll keep a lot of the precipitation the longest. Now over here, you're going to get more, but this model doesn't go out far enough. So once you get into eastern Ohio, you're going to get more most likely. It's just it doesn't go out far enough. Now, if we were to look at your totals through Sunday around noon for a lot of you as we get into the Mid-Atlantic. So this is going to be till Sunday at noon. So DC, you'll get more than this. But you can see, here's what the models are saying. Remember where we have the sleet mix, sleet, rain, snow, freezing rain mix down here? This could just be sleet accumulation too. But as you can see, a very good swath of maybe 5 to 8 inches in parts of the mountainous regions of western Virginia and eastern West Virginia. And then you can see we're starting to get some good snow totals into DC. So by Sunday at noon, we could be 1 to 3 inches in DC, maybe even more. Now, as we go ahead and go on to a different model, the NAM model, this one goes out farther than the other one. Not as good high definition, but still a pretty good model. So here's where we were left off. This model specifically has that rain snow line farther north, which would cut a lot of totals as we get into parts of Virginia. So as you can see, though, we still have that good swath of snow all the way from Ohio down to parts of central Virginia, over to D.C., getting into southern PA, Maryland. A lot of the Delmarva is in some good snow, but a lot of you could change over, and you can see D.C., this is where we could bump into some problems. D.C., there you are, and there's that rain snow line. It's creeping up your way. And you can see we're still falling with snow over here in Ohio, and right here is that rain snow line. For a lot of these areas, the Delmarva will possibly start mixing over. There's a chance they couldn't. But then you can see the New Jersey starts to get coated with snow. Pretty much all of Pennsylvania has snow. Cleveland, you're still in that snow. And then as we get into D.C., you're in like maybe a little bit of a mixed area. Not a ton of precipitation, but if anything was to fall, possibly a mix could fall. And then as you can see, here's that coastal low we were talking about, still moving up. You can see this coastal low is going to be extremely slow, but some very heavy snowfall rates coming down in a lot of these areas. And then you can see 3 days from now, we have a really good heavy band right here across New York City into New Jersey, getting into Allentown, and you can see some very good snow moving in. Or rain. If you're closer to the coast, there's a better chance of rain. But this specific model doesn't bring a ton of rain to the coast. So New York City, you'd be in a better spot here. New Jersey, really good snows. Could be too west in some of these areas to get as much snow as some of the other models are suggesting. And as we get farther in, 81 hours from now, this says, remember, this has already changed since yesterday, so things will change. I'll do another update tomorrow. But you can see we have this band along the coast of some good snow. And then as we get 84 hours from now, you can see it continues to move north, and we'll get some better snows, especially as we get into Boston. In New York City, this model shows you in it for a while. So I can show you snow totals maybe. Here's one model's look. This, of course, is through Sunday. This is actually through Monday night. So this is going to be early Monday night, around right after dinner time. This is what this model is saying your totals could be. And it shows a quick maybe 2 to 5 inches for parts of New York City, but you can see how close that cutoff is. And then parts of these areas, you have some good snow, 3 to 5 inches for a lot of southern PA, 5 to 8 inches as we get into some of these more mountainous regions too. And let's go and go on to the European model. Here is our last one. I'm going to go ahead and first go over to the precipitation. And I will tell you, these snow totals do look big, and there will be big snow totals. We just don't know exactly where, because it's already shifted quite a bit. So let's go to where we left off. Here's where we left off. This model shows maybe more of a mix as we get towards Boston to start with, which I do think will probably happen. And possibly we could maybe just start as all snow, which is a good possibility. But you can see this has a similar situation along the coast. but some of the coast is getting more in and on a mix than they are snow. Now, I do think a lot of New York City is going to just be snow, thankfully, for a lot of you. If you do like snow, that's going to be better for travel when it comes to ice, because I think our other scenario would be ice more than rain. But you can see, Boston, you hold on to ice or sleet or freezing rain longer, so that could be bad for your snow totals, but you will eventually change over to snow. And remember, right along that rain snow line, it's a very heavy precipitation rates. And you can see that continues to move into Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and then you have some lingering snow showers even as we go into Wednesday. So this is going to be sticking around a while. And let's go and look at the snow totals. Let's go ahead and look at total accumulated snowfall. I wish I could just show you snow depth, but I rather look at total positive snow depth, because anything that's on the ground, it's also going to count that, and that's not really this storm's snow totals. You can see right here, it drops quite a bit of snow in New Jersey. I will warn you, this has been over here, this has also been over here, this has also been over here, so you got to watch out. But all you need to know is somewhere around here, we could have really good totals. Let's say especially around here is where we could have some of our best snow totals from this. Now you can see Boston drops a good foot on you. It drops quite a bit on New Jersey. And then other than that, in this area, 5 to 8 inches, and that light pink's 5 to 8 inches. And over here in parts of Ohio, maybe 6 to 12 inches for a lot of you. Cleveland could get cut off quite a bit here, but you will have some of that lake effect snow possible too. But somewhere in here, we're going to have big time totals. Maybe not DC as much as New York City. This is a really good spot where we could get some of our highest totals. So I will keep you updated as we go into tomorrow. We'll definitely have a better idea tomorrow. You have a better idea every day. Just remember, somewhere along here, we're going to have some good snow totals, but we still have to fine tune that, because a shift 25 miles to the west could do a lot, and a shift 25 miles to the east could do a ton too. So yeah, I will keep you all updated. New update tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.